Behind me is a very special M4 GTS with just 16 miles on the odometer. And today, we're installing Kratos turbos, and PWR in Australia made us an exclusive one-off cooling suite specifically for this car. Hey, this is Bryan. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and check us out at KiesMotorsports.com. The M4 GTS, there were only 700 ever made in the world and 300 allotted to the United States. This is probably the lowest mileage one that you'll find in that whole batch with just 16 miles on it. Now, when this car had 12 miles about 2 years ago, we did pure stage 2 turbos. We did a full CSF cooling suite, Evolution Racewerks charge pipe, Akrapovic parts, and more. And it's back with 16 miles, and we're upgrading those turbos from pures to these Kratos titanium turbos. And PWR in Australia made us a one-off, fully customized cooling suite that we're going to be adding to the M4 GTS. Now, as many of you know, this is a very special car, and we are going to be taking every precaution that we can to ensure that everything is 100% perfect. You'll notice that I'm not normally dressed in gym shorts, but we want to make sure there's no buttons or anything on any kind of jeans or pants that could scratch or rip anything. I don't have my phone or anything. We even have super plush towels that are going to be going on before we put fender covers. We're going to wear gloves and take every precaution to make sure this car comes in perfect and it leaves 100% perfect. Let's go through some of the things on the table so you have an idea of what everything is. So first off, Kratos turbos. This is the titanium version. This is the best turbo on the market. In the front over here, we have the DCT cooler. We have an oil cooler, auxiliary radiators, the primary radiator, and also a heat exchanger and a charge cooler. Again, every single piece of this PWR cooling system was designed exclusively for this car behind me. It's not mass produced. They only made one of each of these pieces, and we are very excited to get them installed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the car on the lift. Because we have DIYs on most of these products, even though it's all different brands, we're going to just do a very high level overview. It's going to be a lot of time lapsing, B-roll, that kind of thing. So with that, let's get started. right, so at this point we have the turbos off the car. We have them over there on the table, and we are prepping the new turbos, the Kratos, to be able to go on. So what I did is I just wrote down, I normally just take a piece of cardboard from the new gaskets, always replace all of your gaskets, O-rings, fluids, everything like that. I just wrote down all of our torque specs, so I'm going to make sure that everything is spotless before I start. There's just a couple oil drips just naturally. As you pull the lines out, you're always going to have that. You can see we have some protective rags, but even with that, you're always going to have a little bit. So now is the time to make sure that everything is perfectly clean, so I'm going to do that. Then once everything is nice and spotless, I'm going to reinstall the new gasket and start installing those new Kratos turbos. All right, at this point we have the Kratos turbos fully torqued down. I have one of the heat shields on. I need to do the other heat shield and also reinstall all of the oil and the coolant lines. Now, whenever you do turbo, you need to make sure that you properly set the wastegates, otherwise it's not gonna run right. You're gonna get drivetrain malfunctions, and it just makes all your labor worthless. So make sure that you do that final step. So if you wanna take a look, this is what the turbos look like fully installed. Now, in this video, you've seen examples of a pure Stage 2 Plus, and you've also seen Kratos, but we haven't shown you a stock turbo. So, if you take a look, that is how small your stock turbo wheel is. And then in the back, it looks like that. And then maybe Zach can do some magic and put some B-roll of the Kratos so that you can see the difference. I mean, as you can see, from this and from that to what Kratos offers, it's insane. And that's why you have such huge power gains. Now, one of the things that Kratos does really well is they remanufacture the turbo from scratch. So because it's not an OEM housing, they're not limited, essentially. It's still plug and play, it's still bolt on and all of that. But the advantage is that they have the ability to reconfigure the exhaust manifold to make sure that you can get those gases out as soon and as efficiently as possible. And what that is going to do is it's going to save your rods. And if you're wondering why Zach and I are sweating uncontrollably, it's like 110 degrees in here and we don't have air. And even if we did, we can't film with it. So a little warm today, but speaking of that, it's almost time for cooling. So we have the radiator out of the car. So if you look over here, this is the OEM one that comes standard on the car, and this is the custom made one from PWR. So you can see this thing looks about twice the size. So you're gonna have all of that extra coolant and cooling capacity, and PWR is the best. So you're going to get not only a larger cooler, but the best cooler that money can buy. So with that, I'm going to install this in, and then as we pull out the other coolers, we'll stick to the factory ones primarily. We'll show you the difference in the old and the new. So it is finally time to install the PWR charge cooler. This thing looks like a piece of jewelry compared to what it comes with stock. Now, they did have a CSF one on, but we just wanted to give you a comparison since we had one here of what the car comes with stock from the factory and what PWR was able to come up with. So as you can see, This is much larger, has a PWR core, which is unbeatable. One thing with this is they do tend to leak over time. Now, they probably won't leak on a car with as few miles as this car behind me. However, if they start to leak, that means you're going to get coolant in your charge system and into your engine, which is a very bad day. So upgrading to this PWR unit, no leaks, and also better cooling, which is exactly what you want on a car like this. So without further ado, let's install it. So after about 150 microfiber towels, a week's time, and 12 changes of clothes, the M4 GTS is buttoned up and it's ready for delivery back to its owner. So as you can remember, we did the Kratos turbos with the titanium wheels and a 7-piece cooling system custom made for this car from PWR in Australia. And every piece is like absolute jewelry on this car. So let's take a walk around the car. I just want to show you some other things about the M4 GTS while we have it in-house, and I'll show you what you can see, and then we'll just talk about a couple other things. So again, if you look in the grills here, we have our Eventuri carbon fiber scoops for the intake system, and you can see the PWR heat exchanger over there. If you look through the bottom, you can see the oil cooler. Now behind the heat exchanger is the DCT cooler, but the heat exchanger hides it. We also have our auxiliary radiators, one over there, one over there. Take a look while we're down here. Check out that huge chunk of carbon they put on these GTS. This BMW OEM came off the factory line just like that. This car came equipped with the LED lights, which look amazing on this car, and these little side flicks for better aerodynamics on the track. Under the hood, as you'd expect in any S55 car, you have a carbon fiber strut brace. You have an Eventuri intake. On the GTS, BMW also makes the engine cover out of carbon fiber. We have Evolution Racewerks charge pipes and J-pipe. There you can see the PWR charge cooler. We have a Musselman thermostat over here. And that's pretty much all you can see. The car does have a crank hub, and it has some other goodies like a DCT clutch and some other things you can't see, titanium lug bolts and more. Now, as most of you know that are watching this video, has the GTS hood, which is why they call it the GTS hood, also found on the CS, but this one is real OEM BMW. If you walk along the side of the car with me, first off, you're going to see this unbelievable frozen dark gray metallic paint. It is in pristine condition, as you'd expect from a car with only 16 miles on it. The wheels, behind the wheels you have the upgraded carbon ceramic brake package. It also has coilovers from the factory, which is super cool because not many cars have that, but this car was really designed for the track, hence the gigantic roll cage and also fire extinguisher that came from the factory. But something that's very rare about this car is it actually has the optional carbon fiber wheels in addition to the carbon ceramic brakes. So just an unbelievable sight. Over here, carbon fiber mirror caps, as you'd expect on this car. And then the last time we had this car, about 2 years ago, we installed these custom uprights that are specifically engineered to actually enhance the aerodynamics of the vehicle. From the factory, it comes a little bit too low. You want it more even with the roof line, which is what those accomplish. Those are custom made again for this specific car. As you'd expect, it has GTS lights from the factory. Now I remember, I guess 2-3 years ago, they were selling these for like $15,000 just for the tail lights alone. Crazy. I think they're down to $9,000 for the real ones, so what a bargain. Let's put the car up in the air and I'll show you some things under the car. All right, let's take a look under the car. One of the things that you will first notice that is not on other F80s and F82s, on the GTS, they actually have this additional material just to streamline that airflow that much more. If you look over here, you have the billet knuckles, which are found on the GTS. I believe the CS has them too. Just an unbelievable sight. And these brakes are absolutely insane. It's crazy how big they are. Now, if you look up there, you can see the factory coilover that is fully adjustable. You can do the height, and then you can also see it even has an additional canister to really push the limits of what this car is able to do. And then for the exhaust, it has the Akrapovic titanium mid pipe with the rear section is actually an OEM BMW GTS exhaust, which sounds amazing from the factory. One of the things that the owner did, if you can see, is actually had the diffuser painted with these really nice gold accents. So you can see this thing is very tastefully modified. In the rear as well, you can see it says Eibach on the spring, but it has those fully adjustable coilovers. Now you're not going to be able to see it because the protection's back up, but it does have a Datsun DCT pan. I believe it has a Datsun Sportsman Plus clutch in there as well, so that you can get all this power down to the ground. All right, I just threw a fresh set of clothes on now that we're done working on it and it's all buttoned up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start it up. We've already primed the system. It's already been running. Everything is good. But what we're gonna do is I'm going to just pull it up and put it over here just so we can get some really good pictures. Now that the car is back on the ground, let's take a look at the inside. So with the GTS, you will notice it has an ultra lightweight door. They shaved every pound they could. They just gave it this little strap with the M stripe to close everything. Has the performance race wheel, same wheel that's in my car actually. We did this little piece, this little orange accent piece last time, and also the Alcantara shift boot and some of the other little odds and ends like the surround trim over there. Something that is very unique about this car is it has the OEM BMW carbon seats. I mean, look at that. Unreal. Now these do not have airbags like the G80 ones, but the style and how these feel, amazing. I will say, because the bolstering is so aggressive, it's very difficult to get in and out of the car, especially when you have a lift in the way. Like this, it's not really a big deal, but you have to really make sure that you get your whole body over it before you sit down. You can't just sit on it and slide. So just something to note if you find yourself in a GTS. If you look over here, you can also see that BMW from the factory puts a fire extinguisher in the car, and then it has that classic gold roll cage. So we also did a couple other things to this car. We put an OEM backup camera in because they don't come with backup cameras because of weight savings. We did Apple CarPlay, it's flash with boot mode, and a couple other things last time. But like I said, amazing car, very exclusive, and we're just very happy to be able to have the chance to work on it. So once again, that's Zach. My name is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and check us out at KiesMotorsports.com. If you are interested in Kratos turbos or other upgrades for your BMW, be sure to see the links in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.